Hi, my name is Betsy Case, and I was sorrowful. Growing up as a child, I was neglected. My brother and I had a lot of responsibility growing up. My dad was a workaholic, so we didn't see much of him. Even with school, with the learning disability, it made homework and school really hard. My mom she would lock me out of the house a lot, and I'd come home and there would be nobody there when she had to do errands, or she would just lock us out of the house when she was there. And it was tough, and growing up in that situation, and got very depressed in those early years of my childhood. But at age of 10, I gave up. I didn't really care about life much. I got really depressed, and I was so hurt that I wasn't getting the love and compassion I needed from my parents, and looked for it different ways. My parents got divorced when I was 13 and a half years old, and I ended up living with my dad. My dad married about 6 months after my parents divorced. In those years, I was still heavily depressed, didn't care much about life, didn't care about school, kept to myself mostly. Found that we got sex education at home, didn't have to have it at school. There was a lot of things that happened at my dad's house that were kind of uncalled for children of 13 and 10 years old, so that made it real hard. And by the time I got into junior high and experimenting with drugs and alcohol, and really got into it heavy when I got into high school. Just was bouncing around from school to school, didn't care much about school or life itself. Tried to commit suicide many times. Didn't want to live at all. Even thought about running away from home. It hurt real bad, and the sorrow just drove me down to the pit. And life didn't really matter much. And by the time I graduated from high school, which was amazing in itself, that a year later, I met my ex-husband. And for the first couple years, it was okay until I got pregnant with my twins. After my daughters were born, the verbal abuse started. And then as they grew, it slowly got worse. It went from verbal yelling and calling us every name in the book that you can think of. And then it went to really putting us down to emotional abuse. And by the time that my daughters were 5, they were both pretty much alcoholics. My ex fed them beer all the time, and that's pretty much what they wanted. As they got older, the physical abuse started. It started off slow, slapping your face, or, grabbing you around the neck, or pushing you into the doors. As the girls grew, it progressed. I mean, we got punched and pushed on the floor and shoved into doors and beat up, and if you didn't like the meal you made for him, he'd throw it at you and call you every name in the book. And it continually got worse. I mean, as the girls got older and into their later elementary school, you never knew whether you were going to live or die. He was a hunter and would end up putting a double-barrel shotgun in our face, and we never knew if it was loaded or not. This went on a daily basis for years. We went through this. You never knew when you were going to live or die. He finally, when the girls were in 8th grade, he met a girl, and they fell in love, I guess, and we finally got a divorce. But in the process of that, the physical, emotional, sexual abuse continued for a long time. And after the divorce, it wasn't the easiest challenge. I mean, the girls and I weren't sure where we're going to live. I didn't have a job, and because I worked with my ex-husband, and thank goodness my dad took compassion on us in that time and helped us out so we could actually survive. It took us a long time. I mean, it was days where it was hard. I mean, we had to put a restraining order on him because you never knew. I mean, he'd come over the house, have people follow you. He couldn't drive. He'd follow you all over town. So we finally had to put a restraining order on him to keep him away because we were afraid, threaten us, and we were afraid of him. So it took us a while to get us back on our feet. We ended up getting on welfare because I had no money and no job. And we did go through counseling, but it still wasn't the easiest challenge. I mean, every day was hard. We did our best. We slowly got better and better as the days went on, but we also finally, about a year after that, turned our lives over to Christ. And boy, I tell you what, I'm grateful. I am grateful for what God has done for me. It's been an amazing journey with me, or with him, and it's just, he's done so much for my life, and the love he's poured out on us, and how he's healed us, and the compassion, and giving us the strength to make it every day. I have no idea what I would have done without God being in my life. And little by little, God healed our pain, and it wasn't easy. It really wasn't. But all his love that he poured out and his compassion on us every day gave us more and more strength to stand strong. So even when I was a child, it was amazing to me how the Lord worked. He sent people into my life trying to turn me around. I was so depressed back then, I didn't respond. But I find my journey has been amazing. I mean, people ask me, were you ashamed that you went through the abuse? No, not at all. I'm grateful that I went through the abuse because it brought me to the Lord. And I'm grateful, really grateful that I have walked with the Lord for 11 years now and have never, ever been so happy and so overjoyed that I have, anytime I need somebody, God is right with me. And he takes care of me every step of the way and amazes me all the time. So I'm grateful, and I'm really thankful that the Lord is with me and helped me through some really tough times. And it has been an amazing journey because God can do amazing things. He's done amazing things for me, and I am so very grateful for that. I am Betsy Case, and I am grateful.